Hey everyone, welcome to Beyond the Gates. I'm Alessio, and I'm so excited to have you here. If you love Beyond the Gates, then you're in the right place. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Alright, let's dive right in. On Beyond the Gates, Dani and Andre finish making love, engaging in playful banter afterwards. When Andre referred to his new wife as Danielle Dupree, Dani corrected, "Don't you mean Danielle Richardson?" before advocating for another romp. Later, Andre chalked up Dani taking his name to pillow talk, and Dani had to admit she was still trying to shake off being Dani Hamilton. She asked if Andre would be hurt if she kept her maiden name. Andre wasn't bothered and liked that what he and Dani had was real, and on their own terms. Dani thanked Andre for helping her get back to herself. Because Dani was craving several items from Orphe Jean's secret menu, Andre ran out to fetch them. As soon as Andre left, Dani thought back to Bill kissing her. "Get out of my head, Bill," she told her ex ethereally. Bill tasked an investigator, Keegan, with delving into Andre's life, certain that the jet-setting shutterbug had hidden skeletons. Keegan was surprised when Bill wanted Andre followed in addition to having his European love life examined. Bill almost slipped that he wanted to find out if Andre was cheating on his wife. The lawyer wanted Andre out of Dani's bed and her life, completely. Hayley entered the living room, having heard Bill's directives, but to Bill's surprise, she had only picked up that he was on a video call with Keegan, not on what they had talked about. After venting about making their home a work-free zone, Hayley discerned that Bill being a workaholic was part of who he was. The Hamiltons kissed sweetly. Hayley wanted to take Bill to bed, but he got a text from Keegan that Andre was at Orphe Jean's. Lying that he had to meet with Caroline about a client, Bill left the disappointed Hayley. But Hayley called Caroline and found out there was no meeting. Furious, she grabbed her purse and stalked out. Dani rolled her eyes as Hayley stomped around her house looking for Bill. "Oh, wow," she projects. Dani sniped as Hayley yelled upstairs for Bill to come down, luxuriating in the karma of Hayley thinking Bill was cheating. "Gets awfully cold when Bill's spotlight on you dims," the ex-Mrs. Hamilton told the current Mrs. Hamilton, predicting that if Bill really were there, he would be getting off on the catfight he'd set up between the two from the start. Hayley became menacing when Dani said that she had warned her about Bill's tendency to stray, demanding that Dani concentrate on her own husband. After Hayley stormed off, Dani wondered where Bill had gotten off to. Bill found Andre at the diner, but Andre snarked that he had to get home because Dani liked everything hot. When Bill accused Andre of being a gigolo, Andre laughed at Hamilton's vintage vocab and emphasized that he had his own money. He didn't need any from women. The photographer said that only a damn fool would have kicked Dani, the sexiest woman in the world, to the curb. Bill's hackles went up when Andre suggested that the once struggling Bill had himself latched on to a rich lady. "If you hurt her," Bill started after scoffing that Andre hadn't been old enough to pull up his own pants when he'd met Dani. Andre confidently replied that hurting Dani was Bill's specialty and that he was taking better care of Dani than Bill ever had. "Yeah, I have that effect," Andre smirked as Bill promised he'd be watching him. Bill returned home to an icy Hayley, who was no longer interested in making love. At Dani's, Andre heard about Hayley's search for her misplaced husband, and Dani was stunned to hear that it was Andre whom Bill had been with. Vanessa was shocked to see Donnell at Uptown. The college student wanted to know what Vanessa was doing there, with Joey. The casino owner cut in that he had hijacked Vanessa, seeing how distraught she was. He felt she had needed company. Jacob, who had accompanied Donnell, watched as Joey reminded the young man that Doug was a good person who had gotten lost. Donnell regretted making Vanessa watch Doug on Joey's security video over and over. He just had been trying to make sense of his father's last day. However, Donnell was beginning to see that he couldn't simply crack Doug's life open like it was a mystery to be solved. Understanding the disconnect, Vanessa avowed she was right there with Donnell. Though Donnell felt bad for torturing his mother with the footage, he couldn't quell his need for answers. Joey volunteered that he hoped Drake had been helpful. Jacob verified that Drake's story had lined up with the events seen in the clip. Donnell appreciated Joey, saying that everyone wanted him to find peace. Afterwards, Armstrong talked about his mother, who had been addicted to plastic surgery and died trying to make herself more beautiful. Joey wanted Donnell to remember Doug's life as a whole, not just his last moments. Donnell expressed further gratitude to the man and offered to buy him dinner. Vanessa wanted him to stay as well. Joey felt that Vanessa and Donnell needed some time alone together after spending the whole day facing well-meaning mourners. Jacob exchanged glances with Donnell as Vanessa gave Joey a goodbye hug. Later, Vanessa couldn't fathom Donnell being old enough to drink beer and remembered when Doug had taught him and Deanna how to ride a bike. Donnell wondered if Doug had ever shown signs of recklessness then. Vanessa was firm that Doug never had been with the kids. Donnell was sorry that Doug had always been there to catch him and his sister if they fell, but that they hadn't likewise been there for Doug. Jacob exhorted Donnell not to blame himself and decided to get going. Once alone with his mom, Donnell thought better of drinking after they'd just lost Doug to a drunk driving accident. Vanessa was sure Doug would have wanted his son to raise a toast to his life, but Donnell worried about turning out just like him. Vanessa clarified that Doug's addiction had been gambling, not alcohol. Donnell stated that he hadn't seen any dependency in Doug and fretted that he might not be able to see it in himself or Deanna, who had been fragile in the wake of their father's passing. Vanessa recognized that Doug had had a tough childhood and that he had always been prone to making silly, non-monetary bets, which had given him a rush he had seemed to need. She affirmed that neither Donnell nor Deanna would get lost the way Doug had. Donnell and Vanessa raised their glasses. Doug's scion lovingly recalled how Doug had helped him after his first breakup and had always been willing to talk. After making their toast, Donnell said he was glad Joey had been there for Vanessa, but now she could lean on him. Vanessa admired Donnell wanting to step up and be the man of the family, saying it was okay for him to be a kid a while longer. Donnell looked confused as Vanessa continued that Joey wasn't just a business partner. He had taken up a place in her life she hadn't expected, but she tamped down his silent assumption by making it clear that Joey was a friend, and she needed her friends right then. Nicole visited Anita, who was flying solo while Vernon was out teaching at Banneker University. Anita assumed that Nicole had something on her mind, and she did. Nicole wanted to find a way to help Martin and Smitty heal their relationship. Moving on to the topic of Dani, Nicole remarked that her sister had said they had matching scars from their cheating exes, plus, Nicole added, choking Leslie in public had been very Dani-esque. Anita felt that Nicole's feelings were deeply buried and that she wanted to figure out her heart. Hearing that Nicole planned to close herself off to loving again, Anita said that, by doing so, Nicole would be letting that twisted woman Leslie and that disappointment of a man Ted win. Nicole tried to redirect and asked if her mom was really all right with Dani being in a loveless marriage. Anita didn't want Dani rejecting love any more than she wanted Nicole to. The matriarch stressed that it wasn't like Nicole needed a man to be happy, but having a companion made life sweeter. Nicole doubted she wanted one, but Anita had noticed how her daughter had been perking up around Carlton. Like Dani, Anita noted that Carlton didn't have to be Nicole's forever, and that both Dani and Nicole had married so young, they had missed out on the fun of dating. Nicole was shocked to hear that Anita had once had 5 gentlemen callers at the same time before Vernon had come into her life. Get dressed up. Feel yourself a little, La Dupree advised. The Richardson-Smiths settled at their table at the country club for their date night, with Smitty remembering how Martin liked his drink. Martin smiled that Smitty still knew him better than anybody, or at least he used to. Smitty wanted to look forward instead of back. Martin felt like he was on a first date. Martin pointed out that he was wearing the same sweater he had when they'd first gone out. Smitty noticed and reminisced about taking the socialite to less affluent chain restaurants and amusement parks. The estranged marrieds conjectured that Samantha would be happy to see them out while Tyrell would be more cautiously optimistic. Smitty noticed one of Martin's important constituents and said he would understand if Martin needed to go schmooze. Martin wanted Smitty to have all of his attention and wondered if Smitty had felt shortchanged by such political interruptions in the past. Smitty had to admit he sometimes had. The congressman prophesied that, had they not met, Smitty would have already won a Pulitzer. There's still time, Smitty shawed. While Smitty said he wouldn't have traded a moment with their kids, Martin admitted he had never envisioned standing in the way of Smitty's work. Smitty granted that Martin had done so out of fear of the Kenneth secret coming out. Martin worried that maybe dating and therapy wouldn't be enough to repair their marriage, but Smitty didn't want to think about the hurt. Besides, it wasn't about the actions Martin had taken to protect Vernon during the hate crime that Smitty had a problem with. It was the long-term cover-up and lies. Martin lamented that he couldn't take his mistakes back. Smitty proffered that there were other ways to rebuild trust that didn't involve telling the world what had happened. He liked that Martin was being considerate and romantic, and he found Martin's nervousness endearing, too. Martin giving Smitty his full attention had also gained him points. Smitty felt that what had derailed them was Martin hiding parts of himself, and Smitty giving up parts of himself. Martin promised not to insist that Smitty make any more sacrifices. He wanted the two of them to be equals, like they should have been all along. When Martin swore not to stop trying to win Smitty back, Smitty said he already had. He wanted Martin to come home. Anita reported to the returning Martin that Nicole had been by, expressing concern. When Martin said that everything had changed, his grandmother wanted details. She was thrilled to hear that Smitty wanted him to move back in for real this time. Meanwhile, at the brownstone, Smitty found Nicole, who had let herself in hoping to find Tyrell and Samantha. Smitty shared the news that he and Martin had reconciled, but Nicole, dubious, wanted to be sure Smitty was truly committed to resuming the marriage. Smitty understood that his stance about Martin had changed more than once. Nicole realized that she and Smitty had been through similar betrayals, but noted that Martin was not Ted. Learning that something had clicked for Smitty, Nicole asked into it. Smitty said he had felt empty with Martin gone. Missing him is not forgiving him, the psychiatrist made a point to observe. Smitty conceded that there would still be a process, but he was impressed by how Martin had been making changes and felt there was enough to build on. Mother-in-law Nicole was ecstatic, and back at Fairmont Crest, Martin told Anita that he and Smitty were waiting to tell the kids about their reunion until the following day.